my last.
Welcome, everybody, to the Traffic and Transportation Commission meeting for July 21st, 2025. We'll go ahead and start with roll call. Go to Commissioner Varnell.
Here.
Commissioner Littlefield is not available. Go to Commissioner Carnes. Here. Commissioner Hale.
Here, sir.
Commissioner Martinez.
Here.
Commissioner Wynn.
Here.
Commissioner George is not available, and Commissioner Cornett.
Here.
There was no meeting last month, but we still need to approve the minutes of the May 19th, 2025. And I have a motion concerning that, please.
Motion for-
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, no, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Hale. And who over here did the second? Second by Commissioner Varnell. Any discussion on the meeting minutes from May 19th? Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Hale, seconded by Commissioner Varnell. Votes, please. There we go. All 7 voted in favor, so the item has passed. We go on now to reports from the Traffic Services Division in our Counselor's Office. Sir?
All right, you've got our monthly Section 3 report before you. One thing I want to bring to your attention is on the memo regarding unfunded traffic signals. It's color-coded for your convenience. There are a number of locations which appear in a red text, and these locations are included in the 2025 general obligation bond package, which will be put out for a vote in October of this year. As a matter of fact, on October 14th. So the projects in red are in the traffic proposition. There's one project in blue, which is the Cemetery Road and Southwest 29th Street intersection improvement. It can be included as part of the roadway proposition, which will also be as part of that bond project. The one project listed in green, which is at Hudson and Northwest 23rd Street, that will be included in a 23rd Street streetscape project. The 4 locations that are still in black text are not currently proposed to be funded as part of the proposed 2025 general obligation bond. And then you have our list of locations where we have done speed abatement. The most recent speed cushion installation we've done was in mid-June over on Southeast 80th Street. And aside from that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on the report.
Could you talk a little bit about how specific locations are chosen to go into the bond? Specifically, I'm just looking at the one that's been in here since 2018 that's still not funded, which means it has to wait essentially another 10 years for the chance to be funded unless we find other monies for that.
Right, there's always the opportunity to fund other funds for other projects. The one that was the one you're talking about over at I-44 and Southwest 119th Street, that may be, I think the state, is the state looking at, I'm going to call on Commissioner Wynn for a lifeline here, but the last I understood was the state was looking at doing like a corridor improvement study along I-44. Is that still?
Yeah, that's accurate. So they're looking basically to the Tri-City areas all the way up to 240 and then 152 interchange. What makes the most sense there? I believe there's a bridge rehab job that's going to be going on that area very soon, but won't be affecting the intersections.
Gotcha.
Okay, so there's always opportunities to submit these for other and you know, when the bond package was put together, there were, you know, we submitted every project that was listed and every proposition. Will, you know, there has to be a cutoff at some point in time because, you know, if every project for every possible proposition was listed, I'm sure the total bond obligation package would be huge. Well, this will be the largest one the city's ever done. It's going to be valued over, I think, $2 billion.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
And just for funnies, Mr. Chai, the ones in red that are part of the GO bond, give me the typical timeline after the bond issue passes?
The bond is typically sold out in years, and historically, it's run about 10 years to totally sell out a bond. You know, once a bond is sold to fund a particular project, the city's got like about, I can't remember the exact time frame, but once a bond is sold, then the city needs to commit to using the funds to get the project constructed. So consequently, bonds are sold incrementally just so there's enough work that can be done and completed under each one of the various sale authorizations. So as far as like the pecking order for when various projects will get done, it'll depend on, well, there will be other committees that will look at it and make decisions as to when certain projects will get funded. That's not a function of what this body does, because it recommends, reviews and recommends locations for various types of traffic control improvements. But when it comes to funding the actual projects and the scheduling for them, that's handled at a higher level.
Thank you.
I have one more question for you. The Hudson and Northwest 23rd Street that passed through our body and then was going to go to the state level, does that mean that it's past the state level as well? Or is that if it is passed there, then we have the money to fund it as part of that project?
It's going to be included in a streetscape project, so yes. And I believe there's federal aid funds that are involved in that. I still have it listed because that project, I don't believe, has been advertised for bids yet, so it's still...
But it was passed through the state entity, the state body that was going to, because it had to go in front of them, if I remember correctly.
Right, because
it's a state highway.
Well, in this area, 23rd Street is not. The only thing that might involve the state would be if federal aid funds are used, and the state's the only agency within our state that can oversee the expenditure of federal aid.
I just remember
transportation
because it didn't pass any of the METCD controls, but we passed it and submitted it saying like we recommend that it's going to get implemented, and so then it was going to go up and potentially get stopped there. I didn't know if it had been cleared.
I think planning can maybe explain it a little bit better, but obviously Oklahoma City is within the ACOG area, the Association of Central Oklahoma Governments. They are the ones who are overseeing the STBG funds for that area, and so they would have to be the ones who would allocate some additional funds for it to handle the extra work on that. And was that a pretty good explanation?
Hi, Justin Henry, Oklahoma City Planning. Yes, that's a good explanation. The only reason the state's involved in this one is because we won a large ACOG grant that's helping fund the project. And so the city's going to put in the additional funding for that. We were just waiting for the final sign off from ODOT on that signal being improved. I don't think we've gotten that final yet. One more thing I might mention on here is May and 19th, I think we're also going to do with a MAPS 4 project. So that's another one that's going to be funded via a different means. Yeah.
Thanks, Justin. Thank you.
All right, anything else for traffic? Okay, Counselor's office?
No items from the municipal councilor's
Thank you very
office.
much, sir. All right, there's no items on the consent docket, so we'll go now to items for individual consideration. So we'll go to 5A, Cynthia Cycle, all-way stop control, South Cemetery Road and Southwest 29th Street. Ma'am, would you like to speak? If I could have your name and address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. I even wrote it down. I don't use phones. I know, you caught that. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. My name is Cynthia Cycle. I go by C because it's easier to spell. And I live at Belmont Crossing Addition, which is located between 15th and Reno, Southwest 15th and Reno, off of Cemetery Road. Now, we've lived there for 25 years. And just to put everything in context, when we first moved in 25 years ago, we could sit on our back patio and 2.5 miles from there see the semis going over I-40. Since that point in time, the development, I mean, it's been great. The grocery store is a little bit closer to me than it was 25 years ago, but the traffic on Cemetery Road, which is still a 2-lane road from Reno all the way to 59th Street, has substantially grown. As I said, since that time, housing additions, businesses have increased substantially on Cemetery Road, or as we refer to it in that part of the community, Cemetery Roadway, and it is a speedway. From Reno to Southwest 59th, the speed limit is 55 miles per hour, which translate in all respect to the police department is people believe if they go 5 to 9 miles over the speed limit that they will not be stopped. And it's also an area where periodically there are passing lanes. So as you're trying to turn, you have to look left, right, ahead, and then you definitely look in your rearview mirror to see if you're going to get rear-ended or if somebody is passing you before you turn. It is a heavily used, dangerous intersection. It also is the cross to where that you can get to the turnpike with a southbound access point, and that is not located anywhere except for that point. So there's a lot of people from the west side of Ward 3 that use that to get to the turnpike. As you already pointed out, the blue item, it's already approved. And it will, when the GO bond is approved and when that ranking comes up for that area to be redone, you plan to put signal lights in that area. But just like you did with Reno and Cemetery Road, when we first moved in, there was no stoppage there. Then you put up stop signs, which helped greatly for the community to be able to get through that area safely. After that, we got this light system, but it gave us that interim step until we can get to the GO bond. Now, I'll bet anybody a Sonic Coke that it might be over 3 years from now before that intersection will be addressed. And if it's less than that, holler at me and I'll get you a Route 44 of whatever you want. Today, I represent not just myself, but Ward 3 members that use that area. We're just requesting an interim measure until such time as that it can be a signal light put there. It will slow down the traffic, it will keep us safer, and we really would appreciate you guys considering it. And I thank you for allowing me to talk to you today.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else want to speak on 5A? Staff?
All right, you got comments before you. In this particular item, you need to go back and look at what's happened most recently. So in February 19th of 2024, the commission approved a request submitted by David Spencer for a traffic signal at 29th and Cemetery. At that time, when it was reviewed, the location satisfied 3 of the 9 MUTCD warrants for use of a traffic control signal. Following this particular item, I went ahead and included the case report from 2024, just for your information. At this particular location, the use of interim stop control, always stop control, is an allowable traffic control means and method according to the MUTCD, while an agency is putting together plans or funding to install a traffic control signal. As noted earlier in the report, the several miles of Cemetery Road are included in the proposed 2025 general obligation bond, and traffic control improvements are included as part of the roadway component of that bond. So when that gets done, the opportunity to construct the signal at 29th and Cemetery will be there. Prior to this item coming up, there was a always stop controlled just a mile to the south in May of this year when always stop was approved at Southwest 44th Street. So the addition of always stop control at 29th Street would basically would provide consistent traffic control basically from Southwest 59th Street all the way through Southwest 29th Street. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on the application, and action on the item is going to be at the discretion of the commission.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion concerning 5A?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Carnes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by
Varnell.
Commissioner Varnell. Any discussion on this item?
Just for a little shock value to Mr. Carnes over here, I would like to see this speed limit reduced too over there. It's such a bad area. But that's just for shock value for you.
I'll remember that if it comes up for vote.
It looks like the street is bad enough.
It's terrible over there.
Its own.
Yeah, that's its own passive modifier. Okay, so we have, any talk on 5A from up here? Okay, we have a motion to approve 5A by Commissioner Carnes, seconded by Commissioner Varnell, and we're ready to vote. Item has passed with all 7 voters in favor. All right. We go on now to item 5B. Ms. Cooper and the Traffic Safety Division, Services Division, sorry. 3 items, they're coming up on your screen here in just a second. Let's see here. There they are. Do we have anybody here that wishes to speak on this item? Okay. Staff, are you ready for your input?
All right. Well, we were kind of expecting Ms. Cooper to be here to talk and represent this particular item. What you've got is a request we originally received to do a speed limit reduction on the mile of Southeast 89th Street between Sunny Lane and Bryant Avenue. When we went out there and started conducting our speed studies and reviewing field conditions, we noted that the mile to the west on the section between Bryant and Eastern was also posted 50 miles an hour. And then to the west of Eastern Avenue, there is about a 2/10 long dead-end section of 89th Street, which was unposted. So when we reviewed this particular corridor, we looked at basically the 3.9-mile section of 89th Street, starting west of Eastern Avenue and ending to the east of Sooner Road. And it was our intent to review the corridor and maybe establish a consistent speed limit. So since we had a request to reduce 1 mile to 45, we looked at the adjacent sections and saw that in this particular section of the city, a speed limit reduction to 45 would be appropriate. And it's for that reason that staff included parts 2 and 3 in this particular request. And beyond that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. We did do a speed limit review using the Bella Light methodology and an NCHRP method, and both of those methods pointed to considering a speed limit in the neighborhood of the Bella Light method, which is based on metric limits, would suggest a speed limit around 43. The NCHRP method came up with about a speed limit of 45 miles an hour, so we believe that would be appropriate for this urbanizing corridor. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on the application.
All right. Can we have a motion concerning item 5B?
Are all 3 combined?
Yes. 5B, 1, 2, and 3. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Hale. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wynn. Any talk on item 5B, 1, 2, and 3? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5B, 1, 2, and 3 by Commissioner Hale, second by Commissioner Wynn. We're ready for our votes, and that's up to me now to move my button. And we're ready to vote. All right. Item has passed, all 7 in favor. Okay, we go on now to item 5C. Brandon Bundy, Assistant Public Works Director, remove the traffic signal and replace it with a north-south stop control on North Indiana Avenue. Hello, sir. Can I have your name, address, and you have up to 5 minutes?
Yes, Brandon Bundy, 420 West Main. So I am requesting on behalf of Public Works to remove a traffic signal at Linwood in Indiana. This is kind of a 2-part request. One is because we have a project going in there and we'll have to address the signal anyway. And the second reason is because we feel that Linwood has a lot less traffic than it used to be. And we kind of want to look at traffic signals that might need to be removed because there's not as much signal or not as much traffic that requires that demand. With I-40 moving south and the boulevard going in, I think traffic has normalized a little bit in the last few years, and we will bring a few of these before you as we identify them.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Staff, do you have any input?
All right. When we reviewed this particular intersection, we ran our MUTCD signal warrants on it. The warranting criteria for two-lane roads, it requires a lesser traffic volume threshold than it does for higher lane roadways. So we used the proposed reconfiguration of this particular intersection as the basis for our warrant analysis. When we did that, we found that the intersection does not meet any warrants for the use of signalized traffic control. So then we did a further analysis, and we looked at it with respect to all-way stop control, and the intersection did not warrant anything in the way of all-way stop control either. So in this particular case, since Linwood Boulevard carries about 2,500 vehicles per day, and Indiana Avenue is carrying around 1,900, the most appropriate form of traffic control which would follow the removal of a traffic signal at this location would be north-south stop control on Indiana, giving Linwood Boulevard the right-of-way. And if you look at the map that's on page 11 of the report, you'll see that there's a traffic signal on Linwood Boulevard over at Virginia, and then the nearest one will be over at Western Avenue. And all the other streets that cross Linwood Boulevard between Virginia and Western are side street stop controlled, and that particular, so adding north-south stop control at Indiana at Linwood would be an appropriate traffic control change. I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have on the application. And as always, the action is at the discretion of the commission. Oh, and for further information, we did post courtesy notification signs at the intersection. So if there are any businesses or other residents in the area that may have an interest in this, they had several days' notice to they could either call and inquire or attend the meeting. So happy to answer any questions you might have on this application.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion concerning 5C?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Martinez. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Carnes. Do you have any talk on item 5C? Sir, if you could just come up, I have a few questions I'd just like to throw out there. So, as you said in your letter, you're looking at a review of the 700, 800 traffic signals that we have.
Yes, sir.
Is this the first, well, this is the first one I've ever, and I've been on for 15, 16 years, that we're going to remove a traffic signal. Why do, except for when roads changed or some of those things that we just had to get caught up, why do we want to remove a signal that's working?
That's a good question. There's a couple different reasons, and people might agree or disagree with the different reasons, but one is a cost to operations, replacement, recapitalization of the signal. You know, if a storm comes through Oklahoma City and they all go into flash, that'll be one more stop for our signal technician. There's one signal technician in the evenings, by the way. And so there's a cost to that, like I said. There's also we want to put in signals that are warranted, and you all know that better than I do even. And so we don't want to have signals that are not warranted, and people or citizens apply and say, well, why do they have a signal? And you know, we want to kind of make sure that it's credible when we put in a signal. So those are really my two primary reasons. You could also think of it as kind of like a spring cleaning. We should reevaluate these kind of things every once in a while. This signal is probably, I don't know if we know when it was installed, but it was a long time and it probably wasn't reviewed. There's a cost to reviewing it. There's some, I'm putting myself out there for you all, and it's easier just not to say anything and let that signal operate. But really, we should evaluate these traffic signals. And What we did was a very preliminary review where we used streetlight data, which is kind of a big data, traffic counts, and we kind of went through and the whole city, just a really quick analysis and what fell out. And we will go through one by one the ones that we think are viable options to remove.
So even though it's a very old signal, are the inside still current, or are they the old stuff, or is it new stuff because it broke and it's still current stuff that can be used anywhere per se?
There's a mix of both.
Okay.
So there will be definitely a cellular modem. There will be some hardware that we can use. It does need to be upgraded to our standard if we were to do anything with it. I don't know if the traffic detection, for example, is our current standard, but there will be some salvageable items within the cabinet, but keeping it will also cost additional.
Okay. And then the last point I had is you're saying there's several. Are we talking 2 hands, 2 hands, 2 feet, all of our hands and feet kind of thing?
It'll be one by one, and I don't foresee us coming through with more than 10. I think that the next ones that we looked at this one first because of the pending project, and there's kind of a timeliness factor to it. But the other ones we'll get to when Stuart and I get together and talk about them. But there's some that are south of the boulevard that probably don't see as much traffic now that I-40's gone from that area.
Outstanding, thank you. Yes, sir.
Just a quick question as far as whenever you're doing this evaluation, which ones need to stay, which ones to go, will you be looking at the original request? Because there's been more than one time we have approved a traffic signal that did not meet this criteria really to justify it, but due to the circumstance, due to the request, we went ahead and approved it. Will those be reviewed prior to taking action on them, or is it just the city's discretion is which we remove?
I anticipate these signals to all be really old signals that are before the records that we have were traffic signal requests. I do have that fear, we change a speed limit or we do anything, then some citizen will come out of the woodwork, one, and say they weren't notified, and two, say, well, why'd you change it? That we changed it to that for a reason, and then we either didn't document it or we weren't told the reason, etc. So I do worry about that kind of, that after action kind of situation. But I think these signals that we're looking at are downtown, older areas. The signals have been there for a very, very long time. I'm not looking just to remove signals to go out there and remove signals, but really just those areas that I said that are kind of industrial, underutilized areas.
Can you, sorry, one more question just for me. There might be other questions, I don't know. ACOG's data only going through 2019 on your letter to us, is that, did ACOG stop producing more data, or why do we stop at 2019, and will we be able to get more current data for traffic counts on future requests?
Mm-hmm. We can. There's a little of both. So ACOG does, they pay us to produce traffic counts for part of their model for project funding criteria. And I'm going to have to ask Stuart how many counts we do a year, but it's not enough to do every location every year. And so there's kind of a rotation to it, I imagine.
Yeah, we work towards getting about 800 out a year, and it's like on an A/B type cycle where we'll count certain streets one year and then others the next. And the data that's on the letter that's up on the big screen right now, for this particular report, we collected data, fresh data for it.
Yeah.
And I think this may have come from maybe ODOT's information, because because we keep our information about as current as we can.
Okay.
So there'll be a lot of, 2019 would be based on the counts that we did, we'd consider that a really old count.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I noticed that we do have a pattern every couple of years of updating that, and it hadn't been done in 6 years other than the traffic
Right.
count that you did
Right.
specific to this request.
Yeah,
But
and-
I wasn't
and-
sure how often that's.
Right, and intersections like this are probably not, I don't believe they're frequently counted.
Gotcha.
I mean, what ACOG usually looks at are more the major arterials like the Western Avenues and that sort of thing, as opposed to like the Linwood Boulevards and Indiana's.
Thank you.
And I did pull this straight from ACOG, and that was what was available at the time, just to make the request. We also, like I said, we have this software that's called Streetlight Data. I use it as just kind of to survey and to look at what the traffic is in general terms, but I wouldn't necessarily quote that in a report like this.
All right, sir?
Completely supportive of this initiative. I think the idea of trying to make sure to streamline your operations and really keep things updated is super important. I do know that also as we are looking at different petitioners that come in, a lot of times we have a little more thorough canvassing of the area of agreeing with it, don't agree with it. Is there a thought for the city to do that same type of canvassing on projects like this to ensure that the area that's around there now is more up to date and maybe not agreeing 100%, I'm not saying they have to agree, but that they are fully aware as opposed to just saying, we gave them 3 days notice and they could be here or not?
I think I might call on Justin Henry, because the project that initiated the consideration of removing the signal at Linwood and Indiana was I believe it's a bicycle
Yes.
improvement project. And so I don't know what kind of public involvement there was in formulation for it, but Justin might.
Sure, yeah. On this one in particular, we are doing a kind of a full street enhancement of Linwood where we're resurfacing the street, putting in new sidewalks, bike lanes, parking. So it's a much more comprehensive project, and we're in communications with the neighborhood about that. Now, as far as future projects go, it really will depend a lot on the area. I think a lot of the area that Brandon's talking about, pretty lowly inhabited. A lot of times it's just been bought up by developers who are kind of waiting to redevelop sites. And so I think we'll probably have to take that on a project-by-project basis when they come through. But that's something we can keep a lookout for. Planning and Public Works collaborate a lot for these kind of public outreaches when we do like lane reductions and things like that.
Well, and to speak to your terms, I mean, this is the first one that I brought before you. If there's a template or piece of information or you would like us to, say, mail within 300 feet or something like that, please, let's discuss that now, and then we can comply with that on the next one if there's concerns.
Sure. No, I think it just makes sense to ensure that if a business was reliant on the signal and that we are coming through and taking out, that we make sure that they have full ability to participate in the process with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the key with this one is because of the work that's going to be done, there was going to be a cost to redo the lighting, correct?
Correct.
So by removing the lighting saves money, never mind being able to use it and do what's right. So that's a little bit different because there was years of work probably in getting the neighborhood to buy into the project, correct?
Right.
Okay. But that's a good point that when you just pick a light and say, okay, this one needs to go, that we need to make sure, and especially off of your point, there's no history probably because it's 70s and 60s timeframe when it got put in. We need to make sure that we do a good canvas of some sort. I don't even know what that would look like, but just be aware that there may be a reason that this person that's down the road knows, and we need to make sure to have that data.
There was an intersection very recently that we approved because they'd been down here 4 or 5 times requesting it. It doesn't meet any of the standards, but because of the situation, it was approved. And it's on the list of to-dos. So, I mean, a lot of these intersections are going to have some backstories to them that need to be taken into consideration besides just does it meet the normal standards.
Good points. All right, very good input. Anybody else have any comments about item 5C? Okay, we have a motion to approve 5C by Commissioner Martinez and second by Commissioner Carnes, and we're ready to vote. Item has passed with all 7 in favor. All right. We now go to item 6, comments from citizens, and we have one today. Sir, if I could have your name and address, I already got your paperwork. You got up to 5 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Richard Willingham. I live at 112 Southwest 99th. That's Ward 5. What I'm bringing before you is in Ward 6, so Commissioner Martinez area. Specifically, 36th and Walker, Southwest 36th and Walker. Bike lanes were put in. When that happened, north and southbound traffic wishing to turn left there during rush hour, you back up lots and lots and lots of cars. I believe it was November 16th of last year. Commissioner Hale brought up this problem and nothing was done about it. His suggestion of removing the bike lanes, I think that is difficult to make it fly. So I made up a proposal for a suggestion for the solution, install no left turn signs for both northbound and southbound traffic. But there are other methods. One would be to cycle the lights, eastbound, northbound, westbound, southbound, so that there are many, many intersections like that. That would solve the left turn. You wouldn't need to put up signs. Since it occurs primarily in rush hour, what I proposed was just put up no left turn signs, but you could have a timing there. You could say between these hours. There's also a method called a Michigan left, in which you make the traffic who wants to turn left turn right. And then they make a U-turn. So 2 wrongs don't make a right, but a right and 2 lefts make a left. So they do have other methods of doing this, and I'm sure that the engineering department would look at, is cycling the lights going to require more, a different kind of control than is already there? So I'll leave it up to you to decide which way to go.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your time.
Mr. Willingham, if you would you leave your contact information with Ms. Coyne, and we can get with you about...
With Mary?
Yeah, with Mary.
Okay.
About maybe a time of day turn restriction. And just for the commission's information, turn restrictions are now an administrative function, so we can see we can get turning movement count done, look at congestion in the area, and if it's appropriate, we could put it in like a time of day left turn restriction.
Okay. Anybody else wanted to speak? Okay, we go on now to item 7, reports from traffic commissioners and committees. So we go to Commissioner Varnell.
Yes. As of 10:30 this morning, these decisions we make become a lot more personal to me. My daughter turned 16 yesterday and got her driver's license. So God help us all. That's about it for Ward 1.
All right. Go to Commissioner Carnes.
I do have a couple things. One, we have a Facebook page for Ward 3 where people can talk to us and our council person about issues. And there was something this weekend about some overgrowth in front of the traffic, stop sign. So everybody was like, well, just call the city hotline action center. Anyway, well, got to give a shout out to my council person. She went out and looked at the problem, decided that it needed to be taken care of immediately, and her and her son trimmed it back to where it could be seen. And that just kind of was, really surprised me that someone so new was willing to go out and do that, and I really appreciate her doing that. And then also, I want to I've been thinking about this all day. It's kind of somewhat of a personal thing, but being on the Traffic Commission and we make decisions that improve public safety. Today is kind of a meaningful day for me personally. 33 years ago today, I was involved in a really bad car accident, and I was in a coma and had a 10% chance of living. And some of the things we do here, I think, help keep people from having accidents that could be a lifelong or not for their whole life, thing. I talked to Commissioner Wynn about the particular area that I had my accident in, which was down on I-35 by Norman, and there has been improvements to that area, and they put up barriers now, and so that type of accident that I had back then doesn't happen today. So it's just it's special for me, and it sees that we actually do some things and help our community. So thank you.
Go to Commissioner Hale.
I wanted to thank Mr. Willingham for taking the time, not just to come down today, but also to take the time to research and to really think about some viable solutions. So thank you, and I really wish we had more community involvement like Mr. Willingham that's willing to take some time to try to make some improvements on problems that we may not be aware of throughout the city. So thank you. And that's all I have.
All right, go to Commissioner Martinez.
I just wanted to echo those same sentiments and thank you for your time today and coming to see us, and we'll do everything that we can to look at that and take care of that. And again, it's wonderful and great to work with all of you and learn each day, and so just thankful to be here.
And Commissioner Wynn.
I'll put my ODOT hat on for a second. The ODOT long-range transportation plan is out there for comment right now. We'll just make sure to, if you guys are interested in what's going on there with the policies, kind of the vision of what transportation would be in the next 25 years in Oklahoma, I encourage you guys to go in there and put some comments on that. Thanks.
Look at that. Commissioner Cornett.
You remembered. I don't have anything to add, but thank you so much for sharing your story. I appreciate that. And thank you for being a concerned citizen and joining us today.
The only thing I have is in our neighborhood, I'm on I-40 and Choctaw Road, and our neighborhood social media page several months ago was brought up about street racing, the noise. I mean, it was just very loud. And once somebody mentioned it, I was laying in bed, 11, 12 o'clock, and there it is, and they were right. So I talked to the captain, and the captain talked to Santa Fe, and then they also did some other work. If you recall, I think 2.5 months ago, there was a big bust of 100 some odd street racers or something. That was in the news. And I've been thinking the last month and a half to 2 months, it's been pretty quiet. So I just asked the captain to make sure Santa Fe knows my thanks for that. I don't know what they did, or if they did anything, or if it was finding those 150 people and it was that group, or whatever. But street racing is a concern. Also just want to mention with the captain, his job, now this is a layman's view of his job, is his people analyze all the problems for traffic in the city. And they identify key areas where there's a lot of accidents, speeding, whatever the problem is. And then they focus their limited resources in those areas to try to decrease. And then once you decrease, then you go find the next area. And hopefully after years of hard work, you see a decrease totally across the whole city. And I hope I caught it right of what you're trying to do. But what was pretty neat is I was on social media a couple of weeks ago, and I saw a post about, okay, there's a motorcycle effort being done in this area. And I was like, why is Oklahoma City down in that area? And it was actually the Moore police doing it. So now Moore and Edmond, I've seen, have that type of effort where they look at where the problems are and they focus some resources. So there's a lot of work being done to try to find what the problems are. So I hope I didn't take any of your thunder from your talk, but just thanks for all that. That's important stuff, and it's for the safety and welfare to go out there and try to fix that problem. So thanks for all that. All right, your input. Do you have anything, sir?
No report for me.
All right. Counselor, do you have anything to finish up?
Yes, sir.
Staff, do you have anything?
Next month, I will be out of town, so Richard McCubbin will be here filling in.
So this will be a good one then.
Yeah, so just go easy on him, that's all I ask.
So it'll be done right next month.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah. All right, does anybody else have anything for the Traffic Commission? All right, we're adjourned.
Very good comments. Thank you.
Oh, yes, sir.